Good day, viewers, and welcome to Brand High Online, the official media production house of Saint Brother Andre Senior High School under Peyton Media. Today, we have the honor of hosting a remarkable personality, a pioneer and trailblazer in the field of human development and emotional growth. He is none other than Mr. James Kwasi Addison, the first qualified emotional intelligence coach in Ghana. Mr. Addison has dedicated his life to helping individuals and organizations harness the power of emotional intelligence for personal success, leadership excellence, and holistic well-being. In this conversation, we will explore his journey, insights, and the life-changing impact of EQ. Stay tuned, because this is going to be inspiring, insightful, and empowering.
Welcome to St. Brother Andre Senior High School, located in Opekuma, Accra, Kaswa, a home of discipline, growth, and excellence. We offer your child not just education, but transformation in an environment that is safe, serene, and purposefully built for success. Our programs are tailored to fit every dream and talent. General science, general arts, business, visual arts, home economics, and STEM. With modern ICT and science laboratories, students gain hands-on skills that prepare them for the world beyond the classroom. Our on-campus radio and TV studio gives students real experience in broadcasting and media production. Comfortable dormitories and a clean, disciplined environment make Saint Brother Andre Senior High School a second home you can trust.
Mr. James Kwasi Addison, on behalf of Saint Brother Andre's media team, I would like to personally welcome you back to our school.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm very happy to be around for the second time. I remember my first appearance here was to do with helping the final year students to master their emotions for exam success. It was such an awesome moment, and I'm very happy to have returned today. Great.
Yes, we are very happy to have you back in our school.
Yes.
So, today we have you here to ask you a few questions about your life and the life-changing impact of your occupation and what you are trying to do.
Great.
So, you were at the Africa Emotional Intelligence Conference held in Nigeria 2018. During your presentation, you mentioned that you saw a need for communities to use emotional intelligence to address many of the modern-day societal issues which are emotion-centered, such as violence, divorce, trauma, crime, etc., and that you researched and trained yourself in the science and practice of emotional intelligence as a coach, qualifying in both the practice and assessment of emotional intelligence. So I am assuming that to develop all of these aspects of your occupation and like the abilities that got you to where you are today, I'm assuming it took a lot of work. Could you tell us about that?
Good. Yes. Before the Nigeria event, I've already traveled to UK, precisely in Birmingham, where I had opportunity to deliver on doing business in Africa, the challenges thereof. Remember those times we have Doomsaw and there were so many challenges. Yeah. So one of my former lecturers at Coventry Uni at that time has moved to that is 2016, has moved to Birmingham University, and he was in charge of international students. So they organized this forum where I had opportunity to speak, and that is where the emotional intelligence journey began. In my presentation was very awesome. Then after that, one of the main speakers, who is also an expert in emotional intelligence at that time, came close to me after the program and said, "This is a new area that is emerging. Do you think that it's worth studying into it and taking it to Ghana?" And I said, "Why not?" So after a few explanation and engagement, I saw that emotional intelligence is actually practiced in Ghana, right? Because when you talk about empathy, ability to listen, making sure that children become very obedient, respectful to the elders, and making sure you have that ability to delay your impulse decision. All these things are practices. So we have in our Akan language that yenjen krem into tun crime. It's just to ensure that you don't react to situations without a due diligence into whatever is happening to take a decision. So I took that opportunity. And to be frank, he wasn't that enthused to train me So when I returned to Ghana, I decided to do my own research on how I can be trained and certified as an EQ coach. And it's lucky for me, I had an opportunity in Canada, and that is where the whole journey started. So I was trained by ClearPoint Leadership Strategy, now the EQ Development Group Incorporated in Canada, on behalf of the multi-health systems also in Canada. So after that, I had an opportunity to represent Ghana in Nigeria. And I can assure you that it was an awesome moment. Almost 70% of the participants stood up until I finished my 45 delivery. And it was on building the emotional resilience of students. Because students at that age, probably at the SHS and the university, have a lot of challenges when it comes to emotional issues. Others killing themselves, taking to drugs, and a whole lot. So any emotional intelligence competencies or attention that will be given to this category of people is very, very important. So as you said, a whole lot have gone into that. And after that, there are a lot of things that I've done that have deepened the understanding and the revolution that we stood for. This precisely started somewhere around 2016. In the 2018, I was in Nigeria for that conference. And it will interest your viewers and listeners to note that after that first conference, it was the first of its kind in Nigeria, Emotional Intelligence Conference, African Conference. So that was in May. And after the May, I had an opportunity to go to Dubai as well, where I also spoke on emotional intelligence. Then I returned, and I had a friend, just a friend on social media. We met, a Black American called Tisha Jenkins. And it turned out that she's also an EQ expert in the United States, and was also trained and certified by the same institution that certified me. So we're discussing on the internet, and he said, James, you are the first qualified EQ coach in Ghana. Why don't you initiate emotional intelligence conference in Ghana as well? So in less than 2 months, in December 2018, we had the first Emotional Intelligent African Summit in Ghana that was championed by myself. And luckily, she traveled all the way from United States of America and joined us as one of the main speakers. That is how far we've gone with this movement.
That is an amazing achievement, considering the challenges we face in our society as Ghanaians. So I want to ask, based on what you have said,
Good.
You've been in a lot of places, a lot of foreign countries. Did you ever see like a difference concerning how mental health was received based on the culture of the places? Like, for example, you went to Dubai. Like, how did they perceive mental health compared to how Ghanaians perceive mental health and like in American countries and so on and so forth?
Yeah. You know, mental health is a very serious issue that most of the time in this part of the world, we take it for granted. There's no doubt that conditions here make us a little bit resilient in code, because if you don't have, the only means for you to survive is to do with whatever you have. So when we are thrown out there, comparatively, we may be a little bit resilient than other people from the developed world. But when it comes to mental issue, the advanced world have a way of looking at it. The very first thing they normally do is the preventive, which is very, very important. We don't have to wait until the dire minute that we come in. So other places, they have psychometric measures that they administer even on staff before things get worse. And most of the time, the stigma that we attach to what people go through here is not allowed. I will put it that way in the outside world. So in the outside world, the developed countries, Europe and others, people will easily have that audacity to share any challenge they have. And the experts are also readily available to support them in any way. And the stigma is not that severe like what we have here. For instance, even when you have a challenge and you recover, people will still tag you with those things, right?
Associate you
with that. And these are things that normally make that difference. But I think a lot of changes are coming right now. An attempted suicide, which used to be criminal offense, is now decriminalized in Ghana. These are all efforts to ensure that people are not just discriminated against when it comes to mental health issues. And there are a lot of mental health advocacies around now. And I think we have, there's a room for improvement, but definitely we're doing a little bit better than it used to be.
My question for you is, in our country, like a majority of our citizens, their religions are based in Christianity due to the white people, like colonization, having that much of an influence over us. So the other secondary, most popular religions such as traditionalism and Islam, although those are well known, they're not as popular as the Christian religion. And considering how a lot of Ghanaians view mental health, a lot of them view it as something that can be cured by prayers or like deliverance. Honestly, in a lot of societies, a lot of clans, they view mental health, you possessing like a problem mentally or emotionally, they view it as a curse. And sometimes they associate that with family curses or witchcraft. Was that a challenge you faced when trying to promote such ideologies in Ghana?
Great. That is a very good question. Yeah. You know, in no doubt, we believe that there is God, there is Almighty God. But the issue of making everything, spiritualizing everything is a challenge when it comes to emotional or psychological issues and the mental health issues, because most of the time our orientations and background and the fact that we believe that, in quotes, something is behind some of these challenges make it very difficult for such advocacies to be, how do you call it, accepted by the people.
Yes.
And it becomes a very huge problem when the people even refuse to attend to some of these special centers and adhere to the therapies that are given them or prescribed by the expert psychologists and those people to help them out of that situation. Most of the time, before they get to those places, things have become worse. Because the first point of call is the spirit. So they may find themselves in hideouts in villages, in some prayer camps, and thinking that this has something to do with a particular spirit. But to be frank, most of these things are actually actual issues that we need to find a scientific solution to. We don't belittle the influence of a spirit or influence of anybody's beliefs, but the fact that we need to pay first critical attention to some of this, because when that happens, what happens is that most of the therapies are not adhered to, and the situations will move from a bad situation to a very worse situation. It's been a hell when it comes to some of these issues, especially when people ascribe spiritual things and backgrounds, and they will be telling you generational cases and all those kind of things. Yeah, but we don't want to belittle it. But if there is any generational cases, I think the white man would have been the best victim, because when you look at what they did to our forefathers, right? They took us as slaves. Some were killed, some were molested. They used us for labor without pay. So they have caused more harm to other people that need to be punished than us. Most of us, our grandparents came, they were peasant farmers. They were not that enlightened to have even enslaved anybody. And by the grace of God, they died. But we rather think that those people have really become a source of curse and disturbances to us. And it's such a problem. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Okay, then moving on.
Good.
Can I ask you how you understand the emotional intelligence of the youth of today and how you apply this knowledge when advising them?
Good. Yes. There was this master's program I did with Presby University, and I researched into the emotional intelligence levels of SHS students, especially in Yandintra Senior Technical High School. Yeah. And it came out that 71% of them were not emotionally self-aware, which is the very first block of building your emotional intelligence. So it gave me an idea that what can I do to support them. And I came out with a book I called Developing Emotional Intelligence at the Senior High School. Now, the reason for this was the fact that I saw that these youth I don't want to blame them that much, because the world is now a global village with technology, the internet penetrating through all aspects of our life. They are open to a whole lot of challenges that put them under pressure, so that their emotional state are sometimes destabilized, or they have a lot of challenges to battle with. It's an age, right? A young age is an age that is open to a lot of challenges, including relationships, studies, looking for job, and all these things have effect on their emotional intelligence. So although there is a challenge, but there is a hope that when emotional intelligence skills are skills that are learnable and teachable. So what we have to do now is to target this youth with this kind of knowledge, helping them to build empathy, helping them to build resilience, helping them to remain very optimistic. Because some of them, small challenges, some will fail or have a challenge in one model in the university out of 8 and they will kill themselves, right? Some will have disappointment in relationship and they take their lives. Yeah. So we need to now target them, right? Gone are those days that we would think that people were not taking their lives easily. Now they are open to the rest of the world and they see what other people do. And the result is that they easily adapt those things. That, oh, in abroad, somebody was insulted and the person hung himself. Before they realize they've also hung themselves without even know what they actually doing to themselves. So the first thing is that no matter the level of their emotional intelligence, the best approach is to target them with emotional intelligence development capabilities. What I mean is that we should be able to go to schools and teach these youth about building their emotional intelligence, self-awareness, their regulation, developing empathy, social skills, and all those things. That would be very, very important. And one other area that Daniel Goleman talks about is the self or the intrinsic motivation. That is why today when I was engaging your people, the leadership team, I talk about the fact that they should have a vision. If you have a vision, that is one of the things that can help you to remain motivated. When everything goes against you and you have that vision that this is what I want to become in life, it becomes your focus and your guide. So we need to make this knowledge available to them. It is also high time that the government will ensure that emotional intelligence capabilities become part of what we study. We don't necessarily have to be making it another scoring course, but teachers can be trained to teach mathematics with emotional intelligence. Teachers can be trained to teach English with empathy. For instance, if a child comes to school and the child seems not to be paying attention, we don't have to declare that child as somebody who is useless and cannot do better. We need to go behind what is contributing to that. For all you know, he's staying with a stepfather or stepmother, there's some particular challenge in the house that make that student not having that ability to even concentrate and pay attention. This is an aspect of emotional intelligence on the part of a teacher, a lecturer, that will help that child to do very well. So it's important that we go into these areas with this and make sure. In the churches, emotional intelligence is very, very important. Sunday schools should not be limited to sharing of toffees and shouting in the name of Jesus. We should make sure that students will be channeled. Yeah? Resources will be channeled for experts to come in during the Sunday services with the children to ensure that they help them to build emotional intelligence capabilities. Yes. So important at this age and time.
Yes, sir. I firmly agree that in this day and age, considering modern technology that has been made available to my age group, it would be beneficial. So then, sir, speaking of which, could you tell us how many books have you written? And could you give us some examples, prices, where to buy some for the viewers interested?
Good. This is a very important question. To be frank, my journey into writing a book dates back to when I completed the University of Cape Coast in the year 2000. I was posted from UCC after my national service to become a deputy Accra representative. We have office in Tesano for University of Cape Coast. And I got to know that mature students will be writing exams. Now, in the exams, you need to answer some questions in the area of current issues. And I got to know that most of these matured students don't have time to listen to the TV, listen to the radio, and read the papers. So in my ideal time, when it's 5 o'clock and we close, the office have graphics, they have time. So I will go through and pick current issues that are being discussed, and I turn them into a book, and it becomes a hot cake in the whole of Ghana. Methodist University were selling it, University of Cape Coast. It got to a time that they thought I'm getting some apport from there, because when they get there, all my questions in the books are there. The simple strategy was that I was searching through everything current, and I know they will ask those questions. So it begins from there. Now, when I came back from UK, I did a contemporary issues worth knowing for the university once again. Then, after my emotional intelligence certification, I decided to write. Now, I want to give you a quote that motivated me to start writing. And that quote is from Martin Luther King Jr., right? Yes. When I started, everywhere I go, people say, oh, we want your slide, we need slide, and blah, 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 all the time. And I sat there and said, so if people need slide, why don't I turn the slide, give it more explanation to just the point that are there, so that at the end of the day, I will make it available to them and keep my slide to myself. Because I always tell people that a slide is like seeing a lady or a gentleman who has closed the mouth. Yes. You can't see whether he has the 32 teeth already, all of them seated. So a slide is nothing until somebody speaks to the slide, and the insight into the slide makes it a slide meaningful. So I decided to start writing a book, and the quote said, if you want to change the world, pick up your pen and write. So my first book, My Child, My Future, Optimizing Emotions in Children, have that first quotation. And that was my motivation. Now, Mr. Addison, you can go round. When you leave, what happens? Nothing to show whether you have appeared at this place or not. And that quote that I chanced on from Martin Luther King, and he said, if you want to change the world, pick up your pen and write. That was the beginning of the writing. As we speak now, the first book I launched in the area of emotional intelligence space was My Child, My Future, Optimizing Emotions in Children. This is simply to help parents harness the emotions of children for good. Most of the time, we think that children don't have emotions, so we shout on them. When they are disappointed, we turn a blind eye. Yes, adults can get disappointed. So do children too can get disappointed. So I normally ask parents, your child who is 6 months, 1 year, is going close to hot water. You remove the bottle. The child gets angry and shouting. Who took that child to Legon or UCC psychology department and taught the child anger? Anger is inbuilt. So emotions are involved in everything, and everybody have what? Emotions. Our ability to help the children harness their emotions, predict a better future for them, including their academic performance. Then move to My Child, My Future, Optimizing Social Skills in Children. I chanced on a research, and in that particular research, they spent 19 good years to see what really predicts future success. And what predicts future success after the 19, you reveal that it has nothing to do with English and math. I will mention 4 skills that stood up. Children that were at the age of 5 and 6 were just being observed. Nobody taught them anything. So they observed the characters and attitude of these children. Now they were tracing them. After primary school, some of them came to St. Brother Andrew. Some went to St. Augustine's. They were still monitoring and chasing them. They end up in UCC, Legon, KNUST. After 19 years, these children were at the age of 25, 26. When they brought them together and did a survey on them, they saw that children that were having the ability at that age to listen were doing better. Children that were collaborating, they were able to do things together. Although they were 5 and 6 years, they were doing better. Children that were sharing at that age, when a child is crying and one child will say, what is happening? He says, I was taking my chocolate. Oh, take some small chocolate and share with them. They were doing well. Are you getting my point? So yes, these skills prompted me to write Optimizing Social Skills in Children. That if these skills are the predictor of life success, then why do we eliminate them from our mainstream education? So every parent watching and listening to us must grab that book and make sure that from day one, you let the children practice some of this. Then came this particular one.